So I did the walk, just got back to this location where the house is that I've been working on. The car's gonna be ready in about an hour. So I'm gonna have to. So anyways, so of course it was incredible. Some of it can't even be explained. But to do it in town with all those distractions and all that stimuli, that was amazing. It gave me something to push back against. It made the journey a little bit more difficult, which turns out the results were more elevated, more heightened. So I was surprised that when I started listening to the audio, just powerful. He's got this echo to his voice. He's got the beautiful song. He's talking loud. I mean, like with some right there, and it just drew me in. And so it wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be to fight against the distractions. And the ones I had to fight against didn't last very long. I was able to move past them quickly. But I know this is fleeting. I know that it's something that needs to be practiced on a regular basis. So I'm going to quickly go through. Right outside of Midas, got to the corner, and just stood there. He says, hands over your heart. My earbuds are on really loud. Close your eyes, close my eyes. And I noticed that I was kind of slunching. I was, slunched over, not erect, not, but I did it anyways, closed my eyes. And the reason why I know that is because shortly after he started his guided meditation, the powerfulness of that caused me to start to stand a little more erect, and the words he was using. So there's power in this, and I can see it as my posture improved. So that was the first thing. There was not a lot of the road I was on, there was some traffic, but not a lot. It's like, okay, so within moments, I was able to detach from my surroundings, no longer wonder about, what if somebody comes up from behind me, and does something, harms me? I'll stop thinking that way, and what if somebody's standing right next to me, looking at me right now, while I got my eyes closed and doing this, it's like, stop thinking like that. And so, I just got lost and it was beautiful. So after, 5 minutes, it seemed like 5 minutes, he prompts me and says, okay, start walking, open my eyes and start walking. He's continuing to talk the whole time. Anyways, so I'm trying to think about what I want to say next because I'm restricting. I'm practicing what I've been learning these years. Is restrict. Your thoughts and be responsible and disciplined in where you take your thoughts. And so I don't want to get back into the habit right now of talking about my experience with this flavor of what's in it for me. So I'm just trying to take my time here and restrict. So one thing I think is important to mention is that I have this detached something from the back of my left eye last week. Started seeing these black spots. Next day, this swirl like a membrane kind of a thing. It's black lines, thick lines, and it becomes thin again, like just all of these spots. And it's like right there, and I'm like, wow, something's going on. So the eye doctor said, you're just getting old. He goes, it's not a retina detachment. It's this fluid. That fluid is born with you, so it grows old with you. It's not regenerated on a regular basis. And so you're getting old. He goes, it's happened to me. I've had 2 of them. But what happens is this thing detaches from this fluid, and it's in our eye called floaters and stuff. And he says after a while hopefully it finds its way like down to the side, and either way your brain's going to get used to it. I'm like, right on, I can do that. And so I'm thinking to myself when I heard that, where is the light in this? Where is this is given to me for a reason. Everything's a blessing. So it's like, don't look at this as a bad thing. So let's see where this goes. And so the other day I actually closed my eye and I had my hand on a pad of paper, and I was actually drawing a picture of what it looked like, because when I close my eyes, you're looking at the inside of your eyelids, my eyelids. And I've done that before. And while I'm meditating, sometimes I can see the white light. It's just like, but it's the inside of the eyelid you're looking at, right? So my left eye, when I close my eyes now, I see that blob, right? And as I look to the right or look to my left with my eyeball, whatever direction, the blob kind of tracks that way, right? And it tracks like fluid. So it's like the whole blob doesn't move at once. If I look to the left, the top of the blob starts to move and the back end kind of follows. It's like. So it's been a trip, right? And I'm like, okay, and I drew a picture and I'm like, that really looks like it. Today I realized that blob changed. And this blob helped me go deeper today. So I can't stop looking at this blob, but it's not distracting me. The blob is actually taking forms of animals. And it was amazing because I'm looking at this blob, and there was one of the things was a koala bear. I can see the nose and the eyes. It's just like, that's a koala bear, and I kind of look to the left or to the right with my eye, and it would come back and I'd focus again. And it's a different animal. I saw a mature monkey holding a baby monkey like this. Clearly that's what it was. And this is the shape of this. It reminds me of an Etch-a-Sketch. So it was a trip, and it's like, wow, what a gift this is. Normally I'd be like, this is a bad deal and I don't like it. It's like, no, wait a second. So this thing that happened to me a week ago actually unfolded today, a week later, and contributed to me being able to go there. And at the end of my meditation, it was amazing because this blob, it was changing from animal to animal to animal the whole time. And so, came friends, like, what's that guy? On Castaway, he became friends with a volleyball, Wilson, right? It's my new friend. At the end, the blob turned into a lion, a male lion, because I can see the mane behind it. And just the right eye was looking at me, and I can see that big cat nose, black nose, that big cat nose. And this part was doing its own thing, but here was this with the eye of the lion looking at me, looking back at me. I'm just like, oh, praise God, thank you. What is the meaning behind that? So, and another situation was my glute's been hurting for like a month now. Start stretching, now it hurts. Like, I gotta keep stretching, keeps hurting. I gotta quit stretching for a while. So it heals, whatever I pulled. But as I was walking, my glute starts hurting. I'm like, I know what that is. It's like, man, he was in a portion of his guided meditation while I'm walking that talks about, I heard him say heal. I can heal. And I'm like, that's right, so it's like, I'm just like, hey, glute, you're not going to do this right now. I'm going to work through you right now with this elevated consciousness that I get to be in, right? We all get to be in when we get this type of a thing. And I'm just like, that glute, it was almost like the glute had no choice but to get better. It's almost like the glute has to fall in line, and it's going to take a minute for it to fall in line. But it's like the glute continuing to say, no, I'm not going to feel better right now. It's like that was taken off the table. And so within a couple of minutes, it actually started feeling better and it went away. It's not hurting at all right now. But he was in the middle of this healing thing that prompted me to focus on healing the glute, which made me think, are we our own healers? And I mean from a metaphysical perspective, when it comes to physical healing, like a doctor, yeah, go to the doctor, but this metaphysical healing, we can go to metaphysical healers out there and say, heal me. But are we also our own healers if we're in that consciousness? Something that was just blew me away. So there was I stopped twice, and when he says stop, the music changes a few minutes before, so it's coming. But when he says stop, he says stop, like stop right now. So when I stopped the first time, I was in a busy, I think I was in a street corner. And I'm not even thinking to myself, when is he going to say stop? But I was in a busy street corner. And immediately I'm just like, not here. And it's like, no, stop. So I stopped anyways. And I made sure I was off to the right, so where if somebody does need to ride a bike by or something. So I kind of got over and I stopped, right? Within a minute, I'm like not even thinking about my surroundings anymore. And I got to lose myself again in that consciousness. Then he goes, start walking again. So start walking again. Just the most fantastic thing was where I was asked to stop the third time. Not even thinking about when he's going to ask me to stop again. I'm walking, I'm listening. It's beautiful, lost in this. And there's a place where it's a busy intersection. And I walk across the first lane because it's a green light for me. And there's this little tiny area where the middle divider is. And then the next lane, right? And so I walk through the first lane and I get right into the middle divider and he said, stop. And I'm just like, no way, no. But I stopped anyways and I made sure I was off. And I'm just like, and I looked and there's a person in their car. Literally, I can almost reach out and touch their fender and they are stopped because it's a red light. These guys I'm that close to traffic and there's like cars, right? So I'm like, last time I was stopped for 10, 12 minutes. I'm probably gonna sit here for 10 or 12 minutes in this really busy area. People are gonna keep going. Anyways, I stopped and I closed my eyes and you know what? Within a minute or two, I was lost again and I wasn't thinking about it anymore. But the location of where I was asked to stop was just incredible. It made me feel like there's some validity to working our way through difficult stuff. And that difficult stuff is an assistant to us. It's not an adversary. We call it the opponent, fine. I agree, but it's how we look at it. It's like the difficulties I experience from just cars and traffic and all of this, and then being put in this last spot, I'm like, I really wanted to cross over that last lane, at least get to that corner before I stopped. But no, the difficulty in that assisted me. So, and again, it's gonna go away. You know, I know it's gonna go away. So I need to do this. I need to do this on a recurring basis. So what are we looking at? 13 minutes. The consciousness that I was in, and it's emotional too, right? So there's this place in the hospital, a little booth, they make coffee, and when I was there a few months ago, they make the best London fog. And so I'm just in this consciousness of power and strength, but humility and humbleness and love, right? Power and strength as far as I got this. Not like I want to, dominate other people, but I got this. I feel very, very at home right now in this universe. And it's like, no, this is not a scary place. This place can't hurt me. That's how I felt. So I go in here to get me, and the guided meditation's over. So I go in here to get me London fog, right? And it's just like a little booth here. And this girl said, hey, can I buy you a coffee? No. Okay. Hi, she goes, oh, no, London fog. She goes, okay, now a couple people, hey, can I buy you some coffee? No. Okay, sounds good. Look, here comes this guy with the cane, old guy, really thin. We're in a hospital, right? And I go, hey, can I buy you a coffee? What? Can't hear you. I had to get close. Can I buy you a coffee? He just looks at me, it's like I can see him thinking about it. A few seconds, he goes, yeah, okay. And so the lady goes, hey, what do you want? And so while we're waiting for our drinks to be made, we start talking, and he says, well, I was here for a biopsy and they canceled it, and my ride is not going to come back till 2:30 because they think I'm getting the biopsy, and And so, and I've got, and over the 5 minutes I was waiting, and I go, wow, well, at least you can, you know, yeah. I told him, I says, this is a perfect situation for me to say, I'll give you a ride, but I'm not driving today, I'm walking, and he goes, that's all right. So we keep talking, he continues, he goes, well, I got lung cancer, and I got this, and I got that, and he goes, but they canceled it. And he goes, oh, it's okay. Oh, just, postpone it. We'll do it again. And I'm like, wow, I love your perspective because it's all up to you, right? He goes, yeah, it's up to me, And I'm like, so you can easily say, they canceled it. I'm miserable. And he goes, yeah, we choose. Like, wow, that's awesome. So yeah, he keeps telling me about, but he's not difficult. It's not a difficult thing. He's just sharing with me. It's beautiful. His name was Danny. So that experience right there, that's a physical manifestation. Okay, so that's an engagement that we get to do. We can choose to do anytime we want with people, right? But the level of consciousness that maybe I was in, it spreads out. It's shared, and I'm sure the people said, I don't want coffee, but this guy says yes. But I'm sure they can feel it. So it's not an earnest thing. If we're able to be in this, when we're able to be in this consciousness, it expands out. It's just like it infuses everybody around us, right? I know it. I felt that. And then the last thing is I was almost here, right? I'm walking down, no more in town, no more in traffic. It's more of a rural area. I'm walking on the sidewalk and here's some beautiful yellow roses that are crawling over the fence. I'm just like, I can't stop and just go by, right? Because one of the plan B would be, I don't need to smell the roses. I know what roses smell like. I need to get to the house and start working, right? Plan A is stop and smell the roses. So I stop and smell the roses. Amazing. One rose, yellow rose, amazing. A lot of roses don't smell anymore, right? This one just probably one of the most fragrant roses I've ever smelled. So then I start walking again, and here comes a homeless guy at me on the sidewalk, and it's a narrow sidewalk. And you could tell he's carrying a little bag of aluminum cans. You could hear him ching, 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 ching. And it's like, hey, I reach in my pocket, I got a $5 bill. I never have money in my pocket. I go, all right, on. So I get up to him, right? And he goes, oh. And I go, could you use $5? He goes, oh, yeah. So I give him the $5. He goes, thanks, right? And I go, hey, don't forget to smell those roses. Okay, well, so I just kept walking and I had to turn back. My mind's like, you need to restrict. Don't look back. Don't be worried or concerned about what he's doing. I couldn't help it. I had to look back and he was smelling the roses. And so restrict. I have to be sure that I do not allow myself to believe that this is me, that this is an earnest thing, that I'm special. It's not that. It's not that. But my will to receive for thyself alone wants to convince me of that. Working hard to convince me of that. No, it's not. And so what an amazing experience. I'm going to go do some weed eating. And I'm laughing because, so I'm going to do this weed eating here. This is some house. So the weeds are pretty tall, right? And I'm going to get through this today. But the funny thing is that I always have my dogs with me when I go to these jobs. And I stop by here all the time doing other work. And my dogs are always going out there and crapping in the tall grass. So I know what today's weed eating is going to be like. So I asked my angels to please help me out and try to help me when I get to the places where my dogs have crapped because I can't see it. Help me do it in such a way to the weed eater is actually flinging it outward and not inward. This is a good time to be outward and not inward. All right. So either way, we're going to get that grass weed eated today. Love and light.